All right, what's up, VL AP Statistics students? This is your week 6, day 2 lesson, and it's going to cover some AP review stuff. Might not be quite as long as some of the other ones, but I do want to give you some resources. And so we'll start with our agenda. I'll show you that slide about our upcoming schedule. Again, I'm going to share some AP resources with you. We will have a question of the day, and then in class, I'm going to give students some work time on AP review. So I hope that you'll take a little bit of time to do some review as well. Okay. So remember, in-person AP exam is fast approaching. That is on Tuesday, May 25th. You report to the library at 11:30 a.m. with a graphing calculator and some pencils. It does go a little bit past 3 o'clock, so please be prepared for that. Digital AP exam, Thursday, June 10th. There is an app that you have to download on your computer. Remember that this exam needs to be done on a computer, and I'll go through that a little bit as we get closer to the exam. Okay, so week 7 and 8 we'll spend reviewing, and June 3rd is the last day for seniors. Okay, this next slide I have a couple links, some review videos, the formula and table sheet that you get on the AP exam, and then I'm going to show the formats of both the in-person and digital exams. So that link leads you to a YouTube playlist, and I haven't actually watched all these videos myself. I did watch a little bit of the first one. They look pretty good. So there's 8 of them. They're all, about 45 minutes long. So it has the title. So like that first one is How to Explore and Collect Data. These were given live, but now they're just recordings. And then the next one, Simplifying Probability and Random Variables. The third one, Understanding Inference for Categorical Data. So that'll go through some significance tests and confidence intervals. Understanding Inference for Quantitative Data. So that's going to be with means, again, intervals and tests. Got some essential tools, inference flowchart, formula sheet, and calculator. That's video 5. Video 6, rubrics for free response success on the AP exam. I'll talk a little bit about the investigative task in a minute, but that video goes through the investigative task. And then session 8, top 10 tips for success. So if you have some extra time, I would strongly recommend going through these videos. You're going to see some of the same faces you saw in some of the AP classroom videos. So definitely a good resource. So click that link to get to this YouTube playlist. All right, next up is the AP Statistics formula and table sheet. So let me pop over to that. So here is the formula sheet. So lots of stuff on here. Most of this stuff we usually just use on the calculator. So like how to calculate a mean. Here is the regression equation, y hat equals a plus bx. Here's a formula for R. We usually just do that on our calculator. Here's the formula for sample standard deviation. Again, we usually use that on our calculator. A couple probability rules. So this, remember, is the general addition rule. This is the conditional probability formula. So you do have those two formulas. We have a couple things with probability distributions. So we just have like a discrete random variable. So this is like if you just have a probability table. This is how to calculate the mean. So the sum of x times p of x. Standard deviation is the sum of x times the mean squared over and then multiplied by the probability. For a binomial distribution, we have the mean and standard deviation formulas, and geometric distribution, mean and standard deviation formula. On to the next thing. So you do have the general formula of the test statistic and the general formula for a confidence interval. So statistic minus parameter over standard error, statistic plus or minus critical value times standard error. So those are just kind of in general, but then if you go down here, this is going to give you all of those mean formulas and standard error formulas over here. for p hat 1 minus p hat 2. And then the same thing here. We have x bar 1 minus x bar 2. Again, means and standard deviations. All right. You also have your chi-square statistic there. And then after that, you have all of the tables. So I know some people have been using the tables, maybe some people haven't, but I usually just use the calculator. But if you are comfortable using the tables, you do have access to all of those tables on here. Okay. Next up are the AP exam formats. So let me pop that up. All right, so again, we have the paper in school and then digital at home. Section 1 is the same for both. They are 40 multiple choice questions. It makes up 50% of your exam score, and you have 90 minutes to do section 1. So section 1, again, is the same for each, and you get 90 minutes to do those. Section 2 is where it starts to where it's a little bit different. So for the paper exam, there are 5 free response questions, regular free response questions, and it kind of goes through each of these. So multi-part question with primary focus on collecting data, same thing for exploring data, probability and sampling distributions, and then a primary focus on inference. So again, intervals and tests. And then one question that combines 2 or more skills. So you have 5 of those free response questions. That's part A. And then part B is what's called an investigative task. So it's a task that assesses multiple skill categories and content areas, focusing on application of skills and content in new contexts or in non-routine ways. So it's kind of a grab bag. It's not super predictable what the investigative task is going to be. It's usually kind of a fun problem, but again, it allows you to apply kind of multiple things. Let's see. So then the digital exam, though, is a little bit different. So the digital exam is a couple more multiple choice questions. So 11 questions, should take about 25 minutes. I don't think it times you just on that. Well, let me see. Yeah, okay. So you have 25 minutes to do those additional 11 questions, and then you have an hour and 5 minutes to do 4 questions. So you are going to have 3 free response questions. So collecting data, exploring data, and then the one with 2 or more skill categories. And then you'll also have an investigative task. Okay. And then it just says investigative task will be weighted the same percentage of the total exam score on the digital exam as it is on the paper. Other FRQs will be weighted equally to each other. So the investigative task in both cases is worth a little bit more than each of the free response questions. Also, from what I understand, so on the in-paper exam, you may need to show calculations. You may need to make some graphs. The digital exam, the focus is more going to be on interpreting values, maybe a little bit more writing. I think there definitely will be some calculations and stuff that you have to do and report, but definitely more of an emphasis on writing and interpreting. Okay, so that gives you some information about the 2 formats. Again, I've been mentioning I will help you a little bit with the digital portion, just to make sure that you are able to use the testing app and stuff like that. But I'll get you more information about that soon. Okay, let's see. Okay, so those are kind of some resources for you. These are linked in the slides. They're also in Schoology. There's a folder that says AP Review Materials. Okay, so for this question of the day, just kind of going way back, a little bit of just some general questions about describing distributions, a couple things with some calculations. So I'm going to give you a few minutes here if you want to read through the 3 questions. This is a question of the day, so this will go into Schoology, so make sure you do that. So go ahead, pause the video, and go ahead and answer the questions, put them into Schoology, and then come on back for the answers. Okay, hopefully that went well for you. So let's start with number one. When describing a distribution, what are the 4 features you should comment on? I do have the answers down here. So the 4 are here. Center. So where is the distribution centered? If you have a measure of center, like a mean and a median, you can include that in your description. Spread/variability is the next one. So how spread out or how variable is the distribution. If you have a measure of spread, like a standard deviation or a IQR or a range, you can definitely comment on that. Shape. So is it right skewed or left skewed? Is it symmetric? Does it maybe have a bimodal component to it, etc. And then the 4th one, unusual features. So mainly outliers is what it's mainly talking about there. But, if you do see something else that's unusual, like a big gap, or if you do see a bimodal distribution or something, you can talk about any unusual features. So that's number 1. Number 2, what are the formulas for identifying outliers? So for a low outlier, remember it has to be 1.5 IQRs below Q1. So Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR. And remember, IQR is Q3 minus Q1. A high outlier is Q3 plus 1.5 IQR, so it's 1.5 IQRs above Q3. So that is your formula for a high outlier. Okay, and then the last one, if a distribution is skewed positively, what's the relationship between the mean and the median? So remember, a positive skew, another way to say a positive skew is a right skew. So that's going to look something like this, where you have a longer upper tail than lower tail. So what that means is that your mean is getting pulled up. And so your mean is going to be bigger than your median. So your mean, remember, is affected by skew and outliers, whereas your median is resistant. So for a positive skew or a right skew, the mean is greater than the median. Okay, so hopefully that kind of helped you remember a couple of those things. And what I'm going to do for my students in person in class is give time to work on the 2014 multiple choice and the 2019 free response. So these documents are in Schoology in the week 6 folder. They don't all need to be done for next week. I'll get you a due date. I just want to make sure that I give you enough time to work on this stuff. So the multiple choice is, so these are based on in-person exams. So there's 40 multiple choice. I also put the answer key as an attachment to the file. So make sure that you do that and check your work. And then for the 2019 free response, there's a scoring guidelines document. So you can look through the scoring guidelines to see not only the correct answer, but also how the problem was scored. And that includes, the free response questions include 5 free response and an investigative task. And I'll keep you posted on a due date. So I'll give you some time to work on that now. And that's basically going to be the end of this video. So remember that this problem set is due on either Monday or Tuesday, depending on what class you're in. And those are chi-square problems. So make sure you have that content down. And then when you're done with that, please work on your free response questions. And then the Unit 8 AP Classroom videos are on. Just go to AP Classroom. That covers chi-square if you did need a little bit more help with chi-square. Okay, that's it for today. Hope you all have a great day, and thanks for watching.